Welcome to the next installment of our Lifestyle Challenge series. Today's talk is the 100-year lifestyle. Get your ESS in shape. Endurance, strength, and structure. Frequently, when we go out and speak to groups, we ask the question, who wants to live to 100 and beyond? Surprisingly, we don't get a lot of positive responses. You see, most of the people who are 100 years old today did not necessarily want to live that long, yet they got there anyway. The problem was they hadn't planned on it. Our greatest generation, the people who helped to build the country, who fought World War II, who fought in Korea, who fought in Vietnam, well, they had a life expectancy of 50 years when they were born. They outlived their life expectancy by 20 and up to 50 years or more. They didn't know, so they hadn't prepared to live so long. They became our nursing home generation. So this raises the question, how long can the human body last? Researchers say at least 150 years. In fact, it's believed that the first person to live to over 150 years of age has already been born. So we should let this serve as a notice that it's not a possibility, but a probability that we will exceed 100 years in age. The statistics on aging are astounding. 1 in 8 people today is 60 or older. By the year 2050, the ratio will be 1 in 3. There are currently more than 80,000 people over the age of 100 in the United States. By 2050, there will be more than 2.2 million worldwide. And centenarians are the world's fastest growing segment of our population. Their numbers are increasing at 8% per year. Many of you will remember actor and comedian George Burns. George lived to 103. As he was approaching 100 years old, an interviewer asked him, "Mr. Burns, do you think you're going to make it to 100 years old?" His response was, "I have to, I'm booked." He was a funny guy. But at his 100th birthday, he was asked, "Is there anything that you would do differently knowing what you know now about living to 100 years old?" His response was, "If I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself." Do you think the health choices you make today will impact the quality of your future? In order to better help people understand what it is about their actions today that can affect their tomorrows, researchers started to do studies on centenarians to find out what it is about their lifestyles that made them different from the rest of the population. What they discovered was interesting. It didn't seem to matter what their diet was. Some ate well, some didn't. It didn't seem to matter if they smoked or drank. Some did, some didn't. In fact, you may remember some of the old news stories about people on their 103rd birthday who were asked, "So, what's your secret to longevity?" And a little old lady sitting in a rocking chair would say, "Well, every morning I have a shot of vodka and I smoke a stogie." It wasn't exactly the response they were looking for. But they lived to 103. Some people had serious illnesses like cancer and heart disease. Some had lived through wars, lost limbs, had serious injuries. Some had terrible accidents. They all survived. Many of them didn't want to. Many of them hadn't expected to. The one thing that they all had in common was, are you ready? They didn't die. That's the one thing that all people over 100 years in age had in common with the rest of their population. They just hadn't died. Well, many centenarians got there quite by accident. Maybe you don't want to leave your longevity to chance. So you ask, what do I need to do to live and stay well? Quite simply, you need to get your ESS in shape. What's your ESS, you ask? Your endurance. What will you do to increase your resources to carry you through to your goals? Your strength. What will you do to increase your physical, mental, and spiritual strengths? And your structure. What will you do to enhance your structure? And finally, and perhaps most importantly, you have to stop killing yourself. You see, most of us already know that there are things that we do that are not to our benefit. We know that we should eat better. We know we need to get more rest. We know we need to exercise. We know we don't have a plan, and we have all this stress. We have to start to address these things and start changing how we do things. time to ask yourself, when will today be the right day to start changing the way you have been living your life? Quite simply, until we change, things will continue to stay the same. The first thing we need to understand is that age is a state of mind. You see, life is not just about quantity, it's about quality. It's about expressing your full potential throughout your lifetime. Ask yourself, what good is living a long life if you don't enjoy the journey? What good is a life without vitality? You see, we need to think of aging in terms of long-distance running. Living to 100 years of age is not a sprint. It's a marathon. You need endurance, strength, and structure to reach the finish line well. Before you can begin the process of changing your life, you have to put your life and your age into perspective. So we have a short exercise for you to do to help you determine how far along the road you are. Get a label and write in capital letters "To Go" on the label and stick it to your mirror. Now write down the number of years you have left to reach 100 on your "To Go" label. For example, if you're 50 years old, put 50 on the "To Go" label. Next, look at the number and think about how you would like those years to be. Once you've done that, put an X through your number, and now you're going to write on your label, "No expiration date." You see, you don't have one. I challenge you to remove all your clothing before the mirror, search your entire body, look at every square centimeter, and find anywhere where you have an expiration date written. You simply don't have one. You have your entire lifetime, whatever it might be, to make the best of it. So now that we realize that we could be around for quite a while, what are we going to do to help us to endure? What can we do to improve our endurance, creating and maintaining the resources to carry us through to our goal? We need to consider every aspect of our lives to make sure that they are at their optimum in order for us to live a long, happy, and healthy life. When we consider the previous generations who expected to live to 50 at most, they didn't plan for 100 years. They didn't plan for 100 years physically, with their health overall, mentally, financially, in relationships, spiritually. Nothing about how they lived would tell them they were going to live to 100 years of age. So they hadn't planned for it, and they didn't do the things necessary to make it a smooth ride. We need to make sure that what we do today is plan for how we're going to get there and enjoy the ride. Otherwise, why bother? So what can we do to ensure that our physical body and our overall health remain high, which will allow us to be active and enjoy our longevity? What can we do to maintain the sharpness of our minds, working our minds so that they continue to be functional and we don't drift off into dementia? What can we do to make sure that our finances will carry us through? At some point, we'll probably want to stop working. At that point, are we going to have enough resources in order to allow us to do so? How about our spiritual well-being? Are there ways that we can enhance our spiritual well-being to support us as we age? They find today that spiritual health is extremely important to the overall health and well-being of the body. It's also widely known that strong, positive relationships help the body to produce more health and more happiness. So choosing well and nurturing relationships is extremely important. Nutrition also an important factor to our long, happy life. We have to make sure that we're not eating things out of boxes and bags, that we shop mostly from the outside of the grocery store, and that we're eating naturally grown organic foods as often as possible. What we put in is extremely important to what we get out. The better we eat, the better we live. And anything else that makes our lives better. We have to look at all aspects of our lives to determine what we can do to improve our health and well-being over the long term, because it could be a long road. When we think about endurance and longevity, one of the people that we have to consider is Jack LaLanne. Many won't remember Jack LaLanne today, but back in 1953, Jack LaLanne went on the air with the first televised exercise program. The idea at the time was so unpopular with the networks, he had to pay for airtime once a week on his own. After the first season, the program was so successful and so popular that Jack was able to sell advertising to companies like Procter & Gamble and Johnson & Johnson because housewives all over America were watching Jack LaLanne exercise on TV once a week. LaLanne made exercise simple, using nothing more than a chair and a coffee table to teach people how to exercise at home in their living rooms. By the third season, the Jack LaLanne Show was the most popular daytime program in America, and Jack LaLanne had spawned a new national pastime. The Jack LaLanne Show ran until 1986 and was viewed regularly by millions worldwide. Up until his death at 93, Jack continued to promote exercise and nutrition for seniors. And while we're talking about endurance, if you don't think it pays to stay well over your lifetime, consider this. 69% of people admitted to a nursing home will exhaust their financial means after only 13 weeks, according to Harvard University. Also keep in mind that the most common elective surgery for seniors is hip replacement at an average cost of $39,300. And it may only last 10 years depending on activity levels. So it really does pay to take care of yourself, keep your body fit and healthy for as long as possible. Next comes strength, having the power to push through the tough times and stay on course. Strength and knowledge is extremely important, continuing to learn, because when you're ripe, you rot. If we can keep our minds active and healthy by doing things like Sudoku and crossword puzzles, it allows us to stay sharp and keep our mental facilities. How about immune function? Many people try to rely on outside-in interventions to keep their bodies healthy. If we took the time to enhance our immune function, we wouldn't have to worry about taking drugs and vaccinations to keep us healthy. We would naturally stay that way. So keeping our bodies healthy on the inside is extremely important. Many people working on strength forget about rest. It's essential that the body is recharged, and no, sleep is not overrated. Research shows us that 6 to 8 hours of sleep a night helps the body to recharge to get ready for the next day so that you can perform at your highest levels. In order to maintain a high level of health and well-being, exercise and stretching are a necessity. Jack LaLanne taught us that if you exercise, particularly weightlifting, you can add at least 10 years to your life and have it be healthier. But one thing you don't want to forget is stretching. Stretching is as important, if not more so, than the exercise portion. Proper stretching helps to relax muscles and maintain flexibility for the long run. And finally, a sound structure. Without a sound foundation, your body can't develop and maintain harmony and balance. Maintaining your structure is key to the 100-year lifestyle. Perhaps the best measure of structure is posture. Posture decay becomes apparent as we age. Posture is a key indicator of body health. In fact, we frequently tell our patients, look at your posture. Everybody else does. Your posture gives an indication of how well your body's doing, whether you're sick or well, and it's a good measure of how things are changing as your body starts to improve. To live a long, active, energetic life, few things matter more than good posture. Consider how you wish to age and make sure that your posture reflects that. So now you have been notified. It is not only possible but probable that you will live to 100 years and beyond, whether you want to or not. In order to make it an enjoyable experience, you will need to get your ESS in shape. From now on, it's up to you. So what can you do to ensure more life expression? The first thing is stay focused. You may remember Christopher Reeve, who played Superman. Reeve spent the last 10 years of his life in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the neck down due to a riding injury. When asked about what had happened, he explained it very simply. He said that he and his horse were jumping over a fence that he'd done 1,000 times before. And as the horse left the ground, Christopher Reeve lost his focus. He noticed something off on the sidelines, and before he knew it, he was lying on the ground with a broken neck. That little lapse of focus changed his life forever. You may have also seen 2017's Super Bowl and saw Tom Brady lead the New England Patriots to victory from well behind in the game. He's a perfect example of what can happen when you stay focused and do what you must do to get you through. Tom Brady is a great example of focus. The next thing is avoid injury. That may seem like a simple thing, but avoiding injury is extremely important, and sometimes there's not much you can do about it. But whenever possible, avoid things that are going to cause you to get hurt. Studies show that teens may have impaired thinking years after they receive 2 or more significant blows to the head on the playing field. What about the rest of your life? The body has an incredible power to heal, but why make it necessary? If you can avoid injury, it's the best thing for your future. So where do you begin? Best thing to do is begin with a plan. Set goals. Every journey leads to a destination. Goals allow you to see your destination and keep yourself on course. Next, clear your mind and remove barriers. We need to find ways to remove the negative self-talk that keeps us from getting where we want to be. Practicing things like emotional freedom technique and meditation help us to get past the subconscious barriers that prevent us from reaching our goals. We need to breathe and move for life and strength. Breathing is one of the pillars of life. Your body can't survive without air. So the more we breathe, the better we are. And moving helps us to breathe better. Motion helps the body to heal. So getting up and going out for a walk, going for a bike ride, just getting out in the fresh air helps the body to relax and regenerate. We also need to eat right and control our weight to maintain our health. We all know when we eat the wrong things, our body tells us. It's important that we watch what we eat and focus on quality organic foods and clean water. And finally, maintain your spine and nerve system. Get adjusted regularly. Get chiropractic care. Chiropractic adjustments help to remove nerve system interference, allowing the body to express more life better. A properly functioning nerve system is the foundation of your endurance, strength, and structure. Now, the rest is up to you. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. You need to ask yourself, when will today be the right day to take the first step to the best of my life? When you're ready to take the first step, call us, Drs. Greg and Kim Stetzel at Branchville Family Chiropractic. We're at 10 Newton Avenue in Branchville, New Jersey. Our phone number is 973-948-5556. We'd be honored to find out if we can help you, and we will offer you a first visit initial evaluation at our expense to see if you can benefit from chiropractic care and the services that we offer at Branchville Family Chiropractic. Give us a call today.